Or welcome to If They Won't Listen's episode 34 with the awesome guest Ryan. How you doing, Spencer? How you doing, Ryan?
Doing good.
Where's Spencer?
Oh, did I say Spencer instead of Leon? I'm an asshole.
We don't all look alike.
I'm glad I got the guest name right. I think you'll forgive me.
Yeah, I'll survive. It's Leon, by the way, guys. It's Leon.
And if the nameplate wasn't enough, I also got the guest name wrong once, Ryan. I introduced the guys. Honest mistake. But yeah, tell us about yourself, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show. Ryan Sargent. I'm a married father of two, and I'm a avid toy collector and customizer and general fan of nerdy things.
Absolutely.
As you can see.
I'm all about nerdy things. I get called a weeb every night on Discord. Different level of nerd, I think. I'm more into anime. I love Marvel too, but
yeah.
No, for sure. Do you have a favorite figurine or a genre of superheroes? I guess
I've got through quarantine. I got back into reading. Well, first I watched the Swamp Thing TV show that's since been canceled, and then that kind of led me to reading old Swamp Thing comics, and then that led me to Batman comics, and you can see over here I went kind of bat crazy, kind of got back into my love. I was a huge fan of the original Batman the Animated Series, early 90s, and kind of rekindled my love affair with Batman and went kind of bat crazy and bought a ton of figures.
No pun intended.
Customized a ton of figures. Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
Currently, that's my favorite. What I have most of is probably Marvel stuff. I have a ton of comic and movie figures, and I've done a million customs, and
we were talking about it just before the show. Can you guys hear me? What's up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we were talking it just before the show, but I immediately picked up on this. Ryan has a customized Marvel Legend figure of Invincible. If you want to show the camera, tell us a little bit about what you did with this piece. This is fantastic, guys.
So it's just a I can't remember what the body's from, but it's a Hawkeye head. And I shaved did some Dremel work around the hair there and shaved the head. And then I sculpted the hair and the goggles and the knee pads. And then it's just paint. And at the time, they didn't have any Invincible figures. And that's my favorite comic book of all time is Invincible.
Oh, honey.
Just the best.
Oh, honey. I'm with you there. It's one of my favorite series. My best friend back in university, he got me into it. I was reading comic books. I was just, when I got into university, I decided I'm going to start reading comic books again. I've loved comic books. So I was picking up whatever. And then my friend, Javon, he said to me, yo, man, if you love comic books, you need to read some Invincible. And I said, Invincible? He goes, yeah, Invincible. You need to read some Invincible, man. So he gives me a couple of the first few issues. I read them, really quick. And I went, oh, shit, I got to read more of this. And then I was just a fan. I was just picking them up and reading them. I actually, hold up. Let's see if I got a few of them over here. Nope, I don't.
So I'm unfamiliar, not to cut you off, Leon, and not Spencer. Leon.
There you go. Got a couple of Invincible comics right there, baby.
Go.
Wow.
Yeah, I have all the trades.
Nice. I just they did a sale because they're doing the show. So Amazon went ahead and put a lot of the omnibuses on sale, but digitally. So I bought all of them for I think like $10, and you got all from issue 1 to issue 144 for like $10, which was retarded. So I stopped reading it at some point. I think I stopped by issue 75. So last year I went back and started rereading the whole series again. Then I paused for a little bit earlier this year, and then I went and watched the series, and then I got back into reading. So I picked up where I left off, which was like issue 70, 65, something like that. And now I'm on issue 96, and oh my God, it is just the best series. And you know, Game of Thrones, Song and Fire Ice guys can relate to this because when you've already read the books,
Yeah.
and then everyone's watching the show, and then they go, "Oh, I love this character." You go, "Yeah, okay, yeah, you love him,
Good
right?"
luck with that.
So I'm sitting there watching it with my wife and my roommate, and they go, "Oh yeah, this character," and I go, "Yeah, I like that character too." They go, "What happens?" I go, "I don't want to talk about it."
Yep, exactly.
So I'm not even aware of the series. We're not talking about like the Disney animated movie of like, no, that's not even the same thing.
No.
That was The Incredibles, not The Invincible. So what is this?
Invincible is the football movie. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a Robert Kirkman comic book, which is from he did Walking Dead.
Yep.
Oh, no
And,
shit. Wow.
Yeah.
And this,
I watched a lot of
glad
that. That was amazing.
I'm glad that Invincible's getting a show now because a lot more people will be drawn to it because
Oh hell yeah.
Walking Dead is great. That's how I got into Invincible. I was a huge zombie fan. My buddy of mine said, "You got to read Walking Dead." So I read that and loved it. And then he was like, "If you love this, then you got to try Invincible. It's his other book." And oh my God, Invincible is just, it's the best comic book, superhero comic book of all time.
Yeah.
And just so amazing. So many awesome characters, so ridiculously violent and funny.
Oh, and then the thing is, one of the best parts about the series, and especially if you binge read it, if you just read it like the way we were, like I was reading back in the day, which was on a month by month basis, with whatever hiatus Kirkman was doing, because he was at the time was trying to get the show off the Walking Dead show. He was talking about making an adaptation since 2008. 2008, yeah. And he was talking about making an adaptation ever since. So there was points where the comic book would stop for a few months because he was doing some deal with Frank Darabont.
Walking Dead. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so at some point I, fell out of it. But like one of the things that you don't get from reading it from the month to month basis, unless you have a good memory, is that something will happen in issue 3, and then issue 42 later they kind of bring it back, and it's not even sometimes it's a major plot point, sometimes it's a major character, but sometimes it's a background thing. It's seriously one of the funniest. It's like the way they do the whole presentation of this comic book is just amazing. And then it really subverts a lot of expectations of the superhero genre, because as he was saying, it's very violent.
Yeah, super violent. That reminds me, I'm hoping that they do the garbage bag landing eventually on the show. Like that's exactly what you're talking about. Like 30 issues later, it lands randomly.
Like lands randomly somewhere, and then they haven't got to it yet, but he's still in high school. They haven't got to the point where he throws his cap, not realizing that he throws it too far and it goes into orbit, and, and where it lands to. Oh man! And then that comes back in like 80 issues.
Yep.
It's so good, man.
I just got on the Invincible Reddit because of the show, and I've been a huge fan of the comic books, but I've never got onto the Reddit because there was not really much reason to. But seeing the like episode and the show threads and like people talking about stuff, it kind of like it's hard not to like think about what you were saying, like not spoiling stuff and not talking to people about it, not commenting. And some of the changes that they're making are like a little irksome, but I'm okay with it because it's kind of its own thing. You did the same thing with Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at it as its own entity. But it's interesting seeing people who are comic book people and people who are show people talking to each other. And I haven't got into it yet, but and I'm not planning to.
The TV series? You're not.
No. I'm saying like I've not gotten into like commenting on Reddit threads and stuff about it because I don't think I could. And I don't know.
It's always fun to lurk on Reddit.
Yeah.
Because when you start commenting, then you open yourself up to wounds.
Yeah. Exactly. and I kind of did the same thing with Walking Dead, where the changes that they made were like, okay, it's a separate entity and it's okay, but this I really didn't like. And people on the show don't realize it, and they're like, oh, Lori's this amazing character, Lori. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's Andrea in the comic book.
Yeah. And then they killed her off in the Andrea in the series. They killed her off, I think, in season 4.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the series. I stopped after season 1. After season 1, I just went, yeah, I get it. I'm fine with the comic books.
It was good. I stopped watching it up until I think I didn't see the last 2 seasons. And it just kind of it's the same as the comic book. The comic book kind of got repetitive after a little while.
So I'm curious. I'm curious about that. I haven't read any of the Walking Dead comic book, and it's so good. Dude, I'm a Richards, so I can respect a Rick. You know,
Rick's hate his shit.
But no, I thought it was a brilliant show, and with no knowledge of a comic book, I stopped watching shortly after Negan took reign. So I don't know where that falls in the season. Maybe 6 or 5, or maybe late 4. I'm not positive. You know, and so I saw a lot of the Negan stuff, and I stopped before Carl lost his eye.
Yeah,
I only know he lost his eye because of a Facebook spoiler. It was like what marijuana does to you, and I was like, that's fucking Carl. I was like, this is an anti-ad for weed that just spoiled Walking Dead for me. Welcome to fucking 2016 or whatever it was, or 18. And so in your opinion, did you stop post Negan, pre Negan, or and as far as the comic book goes, did you finish the comic book? Do you think the show will run? I know Rick's off it now, and so frankly, when that happened, I might, unless they did a really good job, I might not even have kept watching. Like he was like my Tom Brady. You take fucking Rick away? Are you kidding me?
I haven't seen the last I saw. I think the last episode I saw was the fight at the end of the Negan War between Rick and Negan, and in the comic book it like jumps way ahead, and I know they kind of did some flash forward things a little bit in those episodes, but I don't know what they actually did after that. I have no idea. I haven't got any spoilers. I know Rick is not there anymore. And I know Carl's not there anymore.
Oh really?
And
didn't know that either. What the fuck? Sorry. There's no family from the beginning, like at all.
I think Daryl is and funny enough, Daryl's not even a character from the comic books.
No, he's not.
But he's not a character.
He's sort of based on what's the guy's name with the scar on his face?
I can't remember. It's been so long since I've read the comic book.
He's sort of based on that. He's in the show too, but he's sort of based on that guy, but they like threw him back to
from the beginning. What are we looking at here? Do we got like Carol and fucking the crossbow guy, the one we just Daryl? So who do we have from the original lineage who's now?
Oh, I don't even know, man. I'm not even watching. I think
Daryl, I've seen just like images on on Netflix and stuff of Carol and Daryl. And
I think I saw the same thing.
Might be it.
Hence my reference, huh?
Yeah, that might be the only people who are from the original season.
Yeah,
maybe that was needed, but I don't know. Are the comic books easy accessible? Like, could I just Google Walking Dead comic books and easily read them?
And at least the first 4 issues are basically the first 2 episodes, and then at that point it just becomes its own thing. And actually, matter of fact, some of the characters a lot of the characters they introduce in the first season, a lot of them don't get introduced until way later on in the comic books. And I mean, one of the biggest ones is T-Dog. And T-Dog, at first, when I saw T-Dog, I just went, this is not Tyrone, dude.
No.
Please tell me this is not Tyrone. Because Tyrone was a black guy, but he was a former football player. And then I found out years after, like seasons later, that they finally introduced Tyrone, and I went, they're introducing Tyrone now? He was in like issue 8.
Yeah.
That was the big black guy who was with the chick, right? Was it the sick woman he was with or something? Or
see, I don't know. See, I only know the comic book. And the comic book, he's with his daughter, and
maybe it's his daughter.
He always wore the knit hat, and he had a beard. The big black guy.
Yeah. I remember his character role instinctively.
His character in the comic book I liked a lot more than what they did with him in the book. And they kind of like everybody assumed that T-Dog was him when in the show, but it wasn't apparently.
Yeah. I immediately just said, okay, I guess they just needed a black guy, and it's not Tyrone. I thought, all right, this is just them just doing their own version of the story, which is fine. Which like circling back to Invincible, they're kind of, they jumped on certain things, and one of the episodes I saw they did this one thing with the character, and I went, oh, they're jumping on that one really quick.
They're making some diversity changes, which I'm totally fine with. That was one of the things that jumped out at me on the Reddit, is that like there's people that are like,
Are people upset
super
about
comic
Amber?
book fans that are they're upset about Amber.
Are you
They're
serious?
upset that
That's
she's
so
they're upset that she's a feminist. Nobody came out and said like, "Oh, we're upset that she's black," but it was like, who cares, man? Like if she
The
wants to be
only-
a feminist, that's fine.
The-
If what's his name is gay right away, totally fine. Because
I mean,
guess what?
he comes out of the closet way later in the issues, but
Yeah,
there's like
but-
there's an inkling that he might be gay in the early on in the
Yes.
issues.
But it's a 20-year-old comic book. Like he
Yeah.
wants to update it with the times. Totally fine with that. That doesn't bother
Yeah.
me. I'm not, there's no reason why you can't change the skin color of a character. It doesn't change the story. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
It hardly matters. And Ryan, did you watch our last episode with Shotgun Mike?
I don't
Okay.
think I saw the very last one.
So one of the things that we talked about on the last episode was, when does it become pandering, or when does it just become representation? And a big example of that, it was pandering, was, let's replace the entire cast of the Ghostbusters with just women.
Yeah.
We're not gonna give 4 female women their own. Yeah, I noticed it in the background. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Dude, that's awesome. I saw that. I didn't even know what it was. That's
the plasma pack.
fucking no, the jelly man, like the big the
Stay
fucking
Puft.
Yeah.
What's the
I'm
tire
actually
company?
I didn't
ti-
mention this in the
yeah,
intro.
Town
I'm
Fair
actually
tire.
a Ghostbuster in Grand Rapids here. I'm part of a cosplay group that does my car is an Ecto 1. I
No
have
way.
a costume. This
That's
is the
so
pack that I
cool.
wear behind me.
The proto
Yeah.
pack.
Yep.
Is that what
We,
it's called? I always forget.
We do charity events and parades and Comic
that's
Cons
so
and all
cool,
kinds of stuff.
man.
And
That's
I did a
hilarious.
birthday last summer and just kind of have
Dude.
fun and give back to the community when you can and make kids smile. It's awesome. But to get to, I was actually just talking to somebody about this the other day, the all-female Ghostbuster remake. The movie's good. It's funny.
Mhm.
It's not the same kind of comedy as the original. I feel like it's a little bit more slapsticky and less like clever writing
Yeah.
and kind of backhanded humor, and which is fine. It definitely felt like, what was the other movie he made? It was Bridesmaids or something, with like half the actors were the same people, and
Okay.
like
Yeah.
it just felt like my concern going into it was like, it's just going to be Bridesmaids in Ghostbusters, but it's not going to be as funny. And I feel like that's kind of what it was. It was a good movie. It opens the doors to young girls, and I have 2 daughters, and they love Ghostbusters because they see their dad as a Ghostbuster, and they can watch this movie and see these as girls busting ghosts, and that's awesome. I'm all for it. It was not as good as the originals, I'll say, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then circle back to Invincible. I mean, to me, the original Amber in the comic book is a blonde hair it's a white hair girl with blonde hair.
Yeah,
and
plain Jane blonde girl.
Exactly. So I'm fine with it being a feminist black woman. You got to get with the times. You're right. It's a 20 at this point. It's not even a 20-year-old comic. It's less than that. I think it premiered in 2008, 2007. So you're looking at a 13-year-old comic book, and it does have to update with the times. Now, I'm glad they kept Eve, a ginger, because to me, she's just hotter as a ginger. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
And got a thing for them Wendy's girls.
I do. Man, I do. Which, by the way, since we're talking about Image comic books, I just gotta say, I know I saw the Invincible. That was the first thing that stood out to me. But I'm looking again, and I'm just where the Invincible was, and I'm going, dude, that's the Maxx.
There's the Maxx up
That's
there.
the Maxx.
Now,
fucking love the Maxx.
I never read the Maxx comic books, but I was a super fan of the MTV Oddities show.
Yeah,
I
MTV Oddities.
I'm a former video editor and producer from a past life, but I actually took the time and I screen captured all of the episodes because they're only like 12 minutes long or 13 minminutes long.
Yeah,
and I edited them all together into like a 2-hour movie.
No way.
And me and my best bud, and we like sat down and watched it one time and made like a video commentary to it. It was just,
Dude,
yeah,
is this on
super
YouTube?
fan of that show. It's not. No, I
Oh,
actually,
I mean, yeah.
I lost the video that I had of it. I think I had it on a DVD and I lost it at some point. And
Oh
I went to
no.
do it again, but I never did. But oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh
Wonderful show.
man, it was a really great show. I did read the comic book. My brother back in Miami has still the original first issue of the Maxx, and you know, it's like we got to take care of it because like at some point it's gonna be worth something. But
Oh yeah.
you know, we're sitting here, I'm talking. I do want to ask Ryan a question, and we all have our origin stories on how we get into certain things and certain topics and activities. For you, what got you into collecting toys and customizing toys?
So I always had a giant. I had when I was a little kid, I had a bowling ball bag that I would carry around with me, and it had all my action figures in it. Like I had I started off, you know, when I was really little, I had my brother's hand-me-downs like He-Man and G.I. Joes and stuff, and then got into Ninja Turtles and the X-Men, Marvel, and Batman toys after the 92 movie came out, or I'm sorry, 89 movie came out.
Yeah.
And so I always was a huge toy, you know, I had a million action figures when I was a little kid. And around the time I had a younger brother, and around the time I was like 12 or 13, with my older brother, it became uncool to play with toys at that point.
Yeah.
I was, 11 or 12 years old. And I'm in middle school. And so I kind of like handed them down to my younger brother, and he just trashed them all and traded them for Pokemon cards and stuff.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
All of my original Toy Biz like X-Men figures all got traded for Pokemon toys or cards, and I'm like, oh god.
I could not. I get it, man.
Around the time I was in college.
Yeah.
And I was, out on my own, had my own income when and they had just started coming out with the original Toy Biz Marvel Legends figures, and I'm seeing those everywhere. And I just thought, you know what? It's my money. Screw it. I'm just going to I want to buy some toys. I bought, a handful of original Marvel Legends.
Nice.
And as far as customizing goes, the first thing that got me into customizing actually was the Halo figures, because I was a huge fan of Red versus Blue.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I can get in with Red versus Blue.
I had a couple of the Halo. Who was the Joyride? I think was the manufacturer of the action figures, and you could get them really cheap at the time on eBay. So I bought a bunch of them. There you go.
There it is, the Halo Infinite poster.
I bought a bunch of them and painted them all. So I had the whole cast of Red versus Blue. I don't have them anymore.
Dude, that is so dope.
My brother is now like a Rooster Teeth like super fan. So
that's a great fucking
needing more
channel.
Space on my shelves, I gifted those to him.
Yeah.
But I had the whole cast. I even had a little bomb, and I had a miniature. The McFarlane came out with miniature figures, so I had the little baby Elite.
Yeah.
I forget his name now.
Oh man.
So what's your
one had the baby Elite?
What's your opinion on Halo, man? Like, I've never read a comic book or anything, but I played every Halo fucking game up until Infinite, which doesn't drop for Windows until August.
I loved the original Halo game came out when I was
I was playing it at 11.
Yeah, I think I was in either my last year in high school or my freshman or sophomore year. No, what year was that it came out? I might have been a freshman or sophomore in college. And so in college, like we had LAN parties where all my buddies would bring their Xboxes over, and we'd have 4 Xboxes going with 16 people playing Halo all together in the same house. And that was so much fun.
Man, I miss those days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those two buildings opposing on that same map where you just fought in the cliff line all day.
Yep.
Oh man, I missed that.
Blood Gulch, maybe?
Yeah.
Blood Gulch was more of an outdoor. Yeah, the two towers was
just the two buildings, and then there was there was
a field in the middle.
Yeah, just one.
Okay,
giant,
that was Blood Gulch.
Yeah.
But no, amazing game.
I loved the earlier games. I played up through Halo 4 and I played the real-time strategy ones. What were those ones? Halo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was Halo Wars 1, there was
Halo
Halo
Wars
Wars
2,
2.
and I
I
loved those
loved both
games.
of those. But everyone
I-
hated them. They got
I s-
terrible ratings.
Oh, I love
I
real-time
did too.
strategy games though.
It was good.
I stopped playing online around Halo 3, I think, because I just couldn't keep up anymore. I didn't play it enough.
Yeah.
And when I would get online, it was like there was, everybody was having a pretty good game, and then the guy or the two guys at the top would be 56-0. It was like, okay, well, that's not much fun.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that's crazy though, is out of all the Halo games, if I'm 50 years old, I'm 26 right now, but when I'm 50 and someone brings up Halo, it touches such a sweet spot in me. And Halo 3,
Gives them the warm feelings.
Halo 3 was the top of the line of achievement Halos when it came to Xbox and PS4. It had the most achievements pound for pound, the most DLCs pound for pound, and it was the hardest challenge. They made those achievements so fucking hard. Like win 50 games in a row without
Yeah.
losing or going negative. It was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
If you got all the achievements in Halo 3 on Xbox, you were a legend. Like people would suck you through the mic. Like it was like, oh my God, you did what? And I spent years trying to get all the achievements. And like when I think about it, it's like the amount of it's guaranteed 4-digit hours to get all
Yeah.
the skulls, beat the whole campaign with all the difficulty modifiers on, like, just fucking insane. It was, and the fact that you could play the whole game regular and then put on the skull for the one that's like a 7-letter acronym. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Legendary.
There was like, it's like I am not. I'll Google it and get the answer. But no, there was a 7-letter acronym skull in Halo that when you activated
Oh
it changed
yeah.
the
Okay.
dialogue of everything. So like if you hung around a certain character and waited past 10 seconds, he'd give you a 4-minute talk that didn't exist in the regular game, and it only existed for
Oh.
dialogue. It's like I want to say, I'm thinking of the Lil Wayne album, I'm Not a Human Being, but it's not that. It's like I want to eat I'll figure it out right now. But
Okay.
yeah, no, it really fucking insane. I played the whole game on the hardest difficulty once, and then I played it an entire time again on easy to sit there and listen to the advanced dialogue that progresses. It's like they made it one straightforward and then they redid it with bloopers.
That's
So
too funny, man. That's really crazy. I like that.
Halo Skull for advanced dialogue.
Yeah, I played the majority of my Halo in Halo 1 and 2 for sure.
So
Yeah.
It was called the IWHB Die. BYW right here. And it's I would have been your daddy, but a dog beat me over the fence. So the IWHBD stands for I would have been your daddy, and it says right here. I can share a screen and show you guys. But it's it was crazy. Just to get it was just a regular skull, but it says it right here. It's fucking, when you put it on, the whole game changed. Like
Wow.
this changed the description, and the rare voice dialogue. And
Interesting. I didn't know that.
and apparently they used it again in Halo Combat Evolved. But yeah, no, it was a really funny thing because like as a Halo player, like getting the skulls was a really cool thing. You played the map and randomly you found a skull, and then you had to actually I don't know, just cool facet.
It's a really Halo was a really, I never played past. I never played Halo 1. I only played Halo 2, but I mostly played it for the LAN parties and the multiplayer. And then I played Halo 3, and with that, I only just played just strictly online. I didn't really play the story at all. I was mostly in it for the multiplayer gaming at the time. I was just online gaming back then. So I feel like I missed out. I only put my toe. I can only say I could dip my toe in the water. That was the Halo phenomenon. I didn't really dive into the deep end.
Halo, if you're an Alien vs Predator fan, Halo 1 is the best Alien vs Predator game there is.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know,
no,
man, because I played the Alien vs Predator that came out on Windows back in the mid 2000s. I think it came out in 2004. and it was one of the best multiplayer games I've ever played in my life.
I'm
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I'm just
Okay.
making a joke because you have
Oh,
obviously
son of a
Halo.
bitch.
Like, look at the Marines in Halo. Like,
oh,
they're
sergeants.
colonial Marines.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Look at
You're
the
completely correct.
elites. They go invisible and they have the giant the energy blade energy blades.
No.
is the two things.
I
The
never drew
flood,
that comparison.
the little things get on your face, and then you turn into a big alien monster. Like, it's an Alien vs Predator game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I see. Yeah, I never played the first one.
It's amazing. See, I was like fucking 11 stealing Smirnoff from my parents, playing on the original Xbox that weighed 300 kilograms.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That was just a controller.
Seriously. It was so, I still have mine. No bullshit. In a suitcase to the left of me. I still have it. I don't have
I believe you.
the apparatus to plug it into the wall or plug the remote in, but I have a remote and the console. There's a lot of 50 Cent on the console.
I mean, I still got my original PlayStation, baby. I get it.
Amen. But no, it was a pinnacle of its time. Like, Halo 1 was like, oh my God. For me, that was the first thing that was like, you know, after Halo 1 in my memory, the only other thing that really lit a fire was Guitar Hero. And that was a different thing. That wasn't a remote.
A totally different genre.
That was a fucking you had to buy a guitar, you know.
Yep.
You had to learn how to play it now.
No, seriously. But no, that's so cool, man. Halo is awesome, but we know how many AVPs are there now? Because there was, you know, all the aliens and all the predators, and then they made AVP.
And they combined it.
I know there's a second, but isn't there a third?
It originally started off as a comic book, funny enough. It was because you had aliens, you had predators, and then eventually it became Alien versus Predator became a comic book series that they would just do, and they were just one shots. They never really connected. And then they did the whole versus Predators thing. And that's right. It was the whole versus Predators thing. So it would be Batman versus Predator. It would be Spawn versus Predator. It would be Magnus the Robot Fire versus Predator. And then eventually it got to Alien versus Predator. It would be these series of one shots where the Predators were just going around fighting. And if you can get your hands on Batman versus Predator, I highly recommend it. It is a very, very good story. It's awesome from beginning to end. And I think we're at 2 AVP movies.
I think there's only 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's 2.
And I mean, it's all spawned from the alien skull in Predator 2.
Right, exactly. That was always that what if scenario, because near the end of the Predator 2, you saw it was in his trophy case on his ship, and everyone went, oh man, wouldn't it be so cool to watch a Predator fight the xenomorphs from Aliens? And then it just became things that speculated on since 1994.
It's a cool idea. They haven't quite done it right in the movie.
No, they have not. I watched last night for the first time, and it's been out for 11 years. So I finally watched it for the first time. Is The Predators, the one that came out with Adrian Brody and Topher Grace. I watched that last night. That was a solid flick. Not a great ending, because
more reminiscent of like the original Predator, which I enjoyed, but not a solid ending. And also, like, the thing that always bothered me about that movie is that when they kill spoiler alert, when they kill Lawrence Fishburne, he's been on the planet for a while, for like he's
3
killed
years.
Multiple predators. Wouldn't he be like the biggest, baddest trophy around, and the dude just blows him up?
Right. But the part that really bothered me with that, and I agree with you, I go, he's been here for who knows how long, for an indeterminate amount of time. And the one thing that really bothered me was like, okay, clearly the Predators like to play their game, right? Because if you watch the ending of the second Predator movie, and then this is explored in the Predator comic books when they do other Batman versus Predator, is at the end, after the Predator is defeated by whoever he challenged, then the other Predators come down and award that person for evading capture or death by one of their own. So that's the part that bothered me with that movie. It goes, how does this guy not get off the planet with some sort of award for doing the impossible?
Yeah.
You know, one Predator, let alone 3 Predators at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So not to cut in here, but I just want to cut. So like I looked up the IMDb Alien vs Predator movies, and like this list goes significantly far past what I thought. Y'all are all right. Like it's definitely it's definitely 2 movies for AVP. But so
Yeah.
we have Alien in 1979,
Right.
Aliens in 86,
Right.
Predator in 1987,
Yep.
Predator
Alien
2,
Resurrection. Hell yeah, the movie was
Predator 2
terrible.
1990, Alien 1992, Resurrection in 97, first AVP in 2004, which is amazing. Requiem 07, but now we got Predators. I've never heard of Predators. Have
That's
you
what
guys?
we were just talking about.
Yep.
We're literally
Okay.
just talking about that.
Okay, so I took that as place of you were talking of the Predator in the previous
Oh,
movies. So
I'm sorry, honey.
It's
And
okay,
then there's
darling.
that's not, I don't see it at least, but there is the Predator, which is the newest Predator movie, and then the
Oh,
Prometheus
yeah.
So that's
movies.
the last. That's
That's the last
2018
one
at the
right here.
bottom
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
Predator.
haven't seen
But-
that one yet.
So all these
It's-
middle ones though, what the fuck are these? The Wayland
Oh,
Files? TED
yeah, these
conference?
are all from Prometheus. So in Alien, there's a company called the Wayland Company, and they were the ones that funded the project.
I
to-
remember Peter Wayland,
Yeah.
the old guy with the fucking
Right.
inhaler.
So Prometheus is supposed to be more an origin story of the Wayland Corp, and yeah,
And the alien, the alien itself.
and the aliens.
I've never
themselves.
seen Prometheus. That's insane.
Don't bother. Don't bother. Don't
They're
bother.
good movies if you
No,
don't.
they're not.
They're, I'll say
Go for it,
they're
Ryan, sorry.
any entertaining sci-fi as long as you don't expect them to be attached to Alien, because
Yeah.
they go out of their
Okay, so
way to
there's
make
no
it not a direct
correlation.
prequel to Alien. Like it's a
Yeah.
direct prequel to Alien, but they go out of their way to be like, no, it's not. It's not. It's not the same planet. It's not the same ship, but it is
Okay.
the same ship.
So
And it looks like the same planet.
same universe, different
Yeah.
solar system.
Or you can even say it's a parallel timeline. That's
Yeah,
another way of
sort
looking
of.
at it.
I
It's
can
a
live with that
parallel
too.
timeline of the Wayland Corps and how they, because one of the things is they want to use these xenomorphs for a reason. It's never really ever explained in the movies, except actually when you get into about Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, it's clear that they want to weaponize them. It's dumb.
So
I mean-
Prometheus, I'm with you, and all the other things I was looking at here. I'll share my screen
Yeah.
again super quick, just to alliterate for anyone else who's actually watching. But so yeah, I didn't notice the time on these. 3 minutes, 7 minutes.
Yeah,
fucking
those are
3
all
Those are
minutes,
short.
promos. Those are
Um,
promos.
7 minutes. Okay.
Prometheus and then Alien Covenant are
So
the
what?
two
Yeah,
movies.
this right here, Covenant and Predator. I haven't seen either of these. What's up with this Covenant?
Alien Covenant is a sequel to Prometheus. Also has a handful of issues, matching up with the other Alien movies, but also within itself.
Yeah.
It makes a whole lot
Okay.
of sense to me if I'm a colonist landing on an alien planet. The first thing I do is stick my face right up in every plant I get to, because there's
That was
definitely
the
no germs on
dumbest-
that planet that are going to
Who-
infect
who
me.
does that? Who does that? Who goes on an alien? I don't even go to another county and stick my face in another plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You know what I'm
Just-
saying? Like they have. Do you guys know what Hogsweed is?
Dog's meat?
Hogsweed. It grows in Vermont. It must
Okay.
grow. It
No,
must
I'm not
grow other
familiar.
places. Maybe this is the only place in the world that grows. But so it's a plant, and now there's a small plant. I'm forgetting the name of it. That's a small white flower that grows on the side of roads. It's a weed, and it comes up, and it looks like basically like a skittle, and it looks like a small flat surface white flower. And that same plant, but in dinner plate size, 12-inch circumference, is called hogsweed. And so hogsweed, the dust on it makes you go blind. There's signs in the counties that it exists in, and if you're running through a field full of fucking 7-foot sunflowers and there's a giant 12-inch 16-inch dinner plate of white flowers all within reason level, and you hit it, that dust entering your eyes, instantly blind. It's fucking insane. But
I'm gonna
I
have
just
to tell if we ever go up to Vermont, I'm gonna have to tell my wife, like, because she
I've never
loves running
seen
through
it.
flowers. She loves running through flowers. I know that, and I gotta tell her, Nick, no, you cannot. You might go blind.
I've never seen it. It's the craziest thing to me. I learned about it once I moved here, but I don't even remember how we
Wow.
segued to this. But yeah, no, seriously, it was
Well, because of Prometheus, in the movie Prometheus,
They literally do that.
they literally put their faces in plants. and
okay. You
there's a-
mentioned that.
They
Okay.
land.
Yeah, yeah.
They're a colony ship. They land on an alien planet, and they're walking around trying to find. I think they're looking for a signal, but they're just exploring the planet.
And they're smelling
And
fucking plants.
There's alien plants all over the place that they don't know, but they're infected with this alien spawning
This bacteria, basically. Yeah.
And they're basically like sticking their face right up in the plants, like looking around, trying
Like,
to
what's
figure out
up,
what they
man?
are.
What's going on here,
Yeah,
guys? Like,
and
what's
then
this?
Bam, the bacteria gets into their body, and then they turn into monsters. Surprise, surprise.
That movie had no
Jeez.
consistency on what that bacteria did. They just kept shooting from the hip every so often.
They come from a universe where War of the Worlds is not a thing.
Apparently.
So
But
so
yeah, go ahead, Ricky.
yeah, okay, thank you, Leon. So finally here, just to conclude this discussion, because there's one more thing I want to bring up before the end. Not that we're like at 2/3 of the way, but still. So Predator. Does that have anything to do with the initial Predator, the initial Aliens, or AVP, or is that a standalone that shares a name?
No. The first Predator movies, the first 2 Predator movies are standalone movies. An alien hunter essentially comes to Earth to go on safari hunting for badass humans.
Yeah.
And
So the last Predator has nothing to do with any of the prequels?
Each one of them stands on their own. You can watch Predator 2 and not be. You can watch Predators tonight on Hulu and you wouldn't be lost. Matter of fact, the one character even sums up the first movie in 2 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. So that's why you say parallel timelines.
The only movies that cross over are the Alien vs Predator AVP movies. Those are the only ones where there's crossover. And then in Predator 2, at the end, he has in his trophy case of skulls, they collect skulls as their trophies.
Mm-hmm.
Alien skull, that's kind of where the whole thing spawned.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
I know.
The video games are cool. The concept is cool, but I prefer my Aliens and Predators to be in their separate movies.
I mean, even in the comic books are really, even in the comic books, it's really good to read the Alien versus Predator comic books. Yeah. They're fun. I mean, because what you get with a comic book is that you just want to read mindless action or what have you. It just sometimes doesn't work in movies, and they have to just stay in their medium.
Yeah. They kind of lose a little bit of that original cool factor and scary factor.
Yeah.
Like they're horror movies essentially. And the Aliens and the Predators are not quite as scary when they're put together.
Yeah. It loses whatever, whatever horror is attached to them. Because when the Predator's mask first comes up and it screams right into Arnold Schwarzenegger's face, it was horrifying because Ricky, have you ever seen, you haven't seen any of the Predators, right?
No, I've seen all the Arnold Schwarzenegger ones. Hiding in mud, fucking camoing his scent,
right.
Fucking
so you remember how its face looked? You remember how its face looked when you first initially saw that?
Big old fucking teeth, 6 inches, big gap.
This mouth opening up like crab legs coming out of it.
Scared the piss out of me.
Oh hell yeah. But I still thought they were so cool looking with them. With those alien dreads.
Dude, those Hollywood artists, dude, they deserve an award. If they didn't get, I'm sure they got one.
I think they did. I think they might have gotten an award for special effects for those 2 movies.
Brilliant. So side note, real quick, not that I want to segue off of this, but so are either of you into cars?
No,
not so much.
Okay,
sorry.
It's all good. I put a new exhaust on my car. Super fucking happy with it. It's very loud. Everyone around town knows it. I did laps around the only city in the mountains that I live at just to let everyone know, hey, how you doing?
What's up, guys?
My car is really loud because it needs a new exhaust. So
yeah, that's the funny thing. I was explaining that to my baby mama today. Like the fact that like the difference between a shitty hold exhaust and a performance is horsepower. You can hear the difference. Like you can hear but within reason to an uneducated, they're the exact same. And so I'll share my screen real quick and show you guys. But no, I'm super fucking proud of it. And so this was the difference in pipe sizes right here.
Okay.
And so I went from fucking 1.5 to 3 inch. And this has 2 90s, which, baffled it. And this is a giant baffler. That's a straight pipe, and there's no 90s. So it just got ridiculously loud. And I'll give you guys an example because this is the video right here. But
yeah, mine looks just like that, except it's more Swiss cheesy.
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Why are you wearing all those clothes? Is it cold?
It was cold out. We live in the mountains.
Oh, man. I live in Florida. It's coldest it ever gets is 72.
No, it was probably 40 out where I live typically, but I was on top of a mountain at like 1,500 feet elevation. And so there was 20-mile-an-hour winds constantly. And it was probably, so it was 40, but it probably felt like 25. Yeah, it's like there's so much winds. After you shoot for like an hour recording videos, you start feeling the wind pull the gun off the target. You're like, fuck, dude, my arms are tired. Like fucking in 15-mile-an-hour winds trying to shoot rounds.
What are you gonna do when the predators are coming after you?
Not be in a windstorm.
But what if you are?
Like, no joke, I did traffic control where I stood in the road and hold a stop slow paddle and made you late for work for my first job when I moved here. And there was one county in Vermont where I'm from Boston, Ryan, if you didn't know. And I moved to Vermont in the last 5 years. And there's one county called Addison County. And there's a running joke, like the fan's always on because there's fucking 20-mile-an-hour winds are the constant, 30 is the median, fucking 40 and 50 are the oh fuck outliers. And so it's, you know what I mean, like just the look of a person's yard in Addison County is not full of decoratives that are slightly sad in the ground.
Anything in their neighbor's yard.
Exactly. Anything outside is fucking bolted down like you're in a Twister movie from 1988. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the right year, but you know what I'm talking about.
Way off. Way off.
When did that come out?
94, 95.
So that was my birth year. Cool. For 94.
Yeah, mid-90s, something.
That was a good movie. I saw it on VHS tape when I was like 8. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to be in a tornado.
That movie blew me away.
I don't want to be putting fucking bald capsules to read its speed inside a tornado either. Fuck all of that. Oh man,
my wife's from Oklahoma, so whenever there's any kind of storm, we're in Michigan now, whenever there's any kind of storm, she's always freaking out, like looking at the radar and stuff, because it's like tornado city down there. There's a tornado season in Oklahoma. Here it's, there's maybe 3 or 4 a year, but every time there's a good storm, she's looking at the radar.
I mean, I get ice storms, but I don't get any of that. I mean, we'll randomly have fucking 16 inches of ice dropped on us like once every 5 years, and it will fuck up everything because it snaps every power line, it snaps every remotely dead tree, and it makes every road so slippery that on any incline other than flat, you just drift off the road. And so we had that in 2008 in New Hampshire, and it was so fucking bad we made t-shirts. Like every gas station had an I survived the 2008 ice storm, because I was out of school in high school for 30 days.
Wow.
Like the whole state was just shut down. We got fucking 10 hours of rain, so everything was soaked. Then the temperature plummeted at night right before winter, during like pre-winter, like fucking September, mid-October, might have been late October, beginning of November. And then we got 6 inches of snow, an inch of ice, 6 inches of snow, 10 inches of ice, and then it started raining again. And then the temperature locked up, and it was fucking the whole, like every tree snapped, anything but a perfectly healthy tree. Every pine tree, every tree that was like a Tower of Pisa, gone. Every power line that was remotely not taken care of for branches, gone. We lost the power to our house, like the line from the pole to our house was severed.
Damn, man, that's crazy.
And we are not high priority. Like there's power grids near mine that had residential communities with old folks homes and fucking police departments and fire stations, and so those had to go up first. And so like literally our school just got in contact with the power company. It was like, can you let us know every town that's out? Cool. Sent out letters to all the kids. If you live in this town, you don't got to come to school until your power's on. And literally I was without power for 14 days, but I wasn't able to get out of my neighborhood for 30.
That's crazy.
I remember that. You said it was in 2008.
Yeah.
That was the first year I was in California.
Mm-hmm.
And we had bad fires that year as well. And I specifically remember like one side of the country was burning and the other side is on fire. Or it was frozen. It was interesting.
Wait a minute.
I think it was really bad.
I think there was really bad hurricanes in 2008 too in Florida.
Oh yeah,
I think we got
warmer. It wouldn't have been ice, but yeah, it was like 3 hurricanes. It was like a perfect storm. It was like 2 hurricanes that were both massive, and they joined off the coast, hit the coast, and then hit our fucking low temperature system.
I remember that. I do remember that now. It was that was crazy. The hurricane combined with an ice storm to create like a Frankenstorm.
Yeah, fucked up, fuck me storm.
I remember that now. Oh my goodness.
Dude, I was a teenager and I had so many trees falling on my house. I couldn't sleep. I would lay in bed and close my eyes and then bang, bang, bang. okay, how's my roof gonna hold? Is that the oak tree? Is that the beginning of the oak tree? Like the tree was so big I could hug it 3 times. It was like fucking 16, not 16, like 10 feet in circumference. It was fucking huge. And yeah, the branches were 14 fucking 20 feet, 100 feet up. So when they snapped from fucking 300 pounds of ice and snow and rain, you can't blame them. But they hit the roof like fucking torpedoes. It was insane. Dude, the sleep I got in those 13 days must be comparable to like Bud's Hell Week training, like 58 hours on a strand without sleeping. It was terrible. I'm still horrified by that. I really am. Like my perfect house is in the middle of a fucking field. Like we're gonna need 100-mile-an-hour winds for a stick to hit my house. You know what I mean? Like I'm petrified from that. It fucked me up.
I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you at all.
You guys ever felt
blame
an earthquake?
God.
Yeah, well, I was in California for about 8 years, and there was a few big ones. No huge ones that did a lot of damage, but there was a few that were like, all right, the house is shaking, and it's like it feels like a truck, and a big truck drives by outside the house, and the whole house shakes a little bit, but it just keeps going for 30 seconds or so. And that was interesting.
Yeah, you don't get them on the East Coast often. I lived in New Hampshire. I was born in Massachusetts on a town that borders New Hampshire and Mass. So I lived both the live free or die and the fucking Mass whole state. But so I felt an earthquake once, and I'll never forget it. I was playing Call of Duty on my fucking 60-inch, playing. And all of a sudden, the room just started shaking. Like the washer came off. It's one of its rockers on its feet, and it started shaking the house. And that's what it felt like. It felt like I was sitting next to a dryer, and it was on. And I was like, "What in the fuck is happening?" And then I went downstairs, and they were like, "There was just an earthquake, fucking like 16 miles away, but it was like a 4.7." And so this is the aftershock. And I was like, "What the fuck? We live in New England." And yeah, it was so minor. Nothing fell. Like stuff that was on the edge of a table didn't even fall off, but noticeably sitting on the top floor of a house, everything was shaking but me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, this is, it stopped me from even caring about my video game. It was really weird.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was the first time I invested in sticky tack for the stuff behind me.
Oh yeah,
all those
Museum
attacked
Buddy.
down. Yeah.
They didn't all get knocked down, but definitely a lot of them did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was in an upstairs apartment at the time of the biggest one that while I was out there.
Right.
I can't remember what year it was. It had to have been like 2010, maybe 2011, somewhere in there.
I got a question. Because first of all, the one of the things I noticed is that none of your, for people that are watching on YouTube, you can see this, but for those of you at home just listening or driving and listening, a lot of his toys are not MIB or NRFB.
No.
Now, for those of you who don't know, that means mint in box or never removed from box. They're just all out and exposed. So you already talked about having them tacked down. My question is, what is the maintenance of keeping them dust free and clean throughout
I have
the
them
year?
off right now because I have like lights set up to actually so you can see what's
See
behind
them?
me.
Yeah, I love it. It's impressive.
So I have the stuff on the top. I have to dust, and I take them off. I do like one shelf a week and dust it off and stuff. But
Okay.
all the stuff in the lower part of the shelves, I have plexiglass over the front of it that's like velcroed on to the sides. I just took them off so you wouldn't see the glare, but that keeps all the dust out. So it's definitely makes it a whole lot easier.
So it's
I do the same fucking
plastic
thing.
thing.
I have a plexiglass screen for my PC, and I take it off so you can see these RGB better. But it's sitting on the floor right behind me.
Yeah. And it's like the command strip Velcro things in the four corners of the shelf, and it sticks on the front. And
like this equivalent.
It keeps yeah, exactly.
Sticky Velcro.
It keeps 3-year-old hands off the stuff on the shelves, and it's good to go.
Amen. I have a 3-year-old too. I feel that she doesn't live with me currently, but yeah, no, back when I split from my baby mama like 3 weeks ago. And I only moved across the street, so I'm still seeing my daughter all the time, but I don't have the inconvenience of like her getting into my shit like personally now. And there's a plus and a minus to that. That's incalculable. But it's interesting, just trying to do that as a parent, like prepare everything,
Yeah.
My old setup was very tight knit. Everything was tucked away. Now it's like I set the shit up in a fucking hour. I was just like everywhere. It's not gonna be touched by non-wanted hands.
Yeah. I sometimes I worry about my comic book collection that's sitting right here on the right of me. And when I decide to have a little Rugrat, what am I gonna do? Is I'm just gonna have to keep it somewhere up away, tucked away, because there's some comic books I definitely don't want to lose. And a good example of that is this Barack Obama, the Barbarian comic
Oh
book.
my God.
You know what I mean?
That's insane.
I gotta keep that. I gotta keep that mint, baby.
Mhm.
So just hitting it up, 5-minute warning, letting everyone know.
And we're cool because we're not doing the D&D tonight. I was unable to write anything for the next campaign. We're about to hit the end of our first season, and I wanted to be ended right. So I'm just taking my time with it.
Chill. Yeah. So do you have any super tight time constraints, Ryan?
Nope.
Cool. Yeah, we can bullshit. I don't care if it goes long. We
right.
set the hour thing just because it got to a point in the beginning when I was just going over, and when we got Spencer as a host here, he does a D&D event usually right after 9 p.m. So we decided we'll do an hour until there's a fiscal reason to go longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's not obliged by that, I'm not. Don't necessarily need to stop.
Nope, we're good.
Yeah.
I haven't played D&D since I was probably about 12, and I loved it when we played it. It was just me and two buddies of mine. And then we found out that we were playing it wrong. Like we were missing a whole level of like complexity. And once we found out how we were supposed to play it, we were like, oh God, this is way more difficult. Let's play video games. Now I've played table games since then, and I realize now like it's not as bad as it was when I was 12, or at least it seemed to be. But it was pretty funny.
My first foray to, is that the right word, foray? I don't know.
Sounds right.
Anyways, my initial introduction. I don't want to sound pretentious or pompous. My initial introduction to Dungeons and Dragons tabletop role playing was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition, which its rules are really complicated. And when you're telling this to an 11-year-old kid, I had so many misunderstood words. I didn't understand the complexity of this game, and I couldn't do it. And I remember I still had the handbook, but I wanted to play it. It sounded really cool. I just never got into it. And when I tried to, it was just a headache. But the new one now, the newest one, which came out 8 years ago, the 5th edition, it's one of the most easily accessible Dungeons and Dragons that anyone can ever play. And so Wizards of the Coast has no intention of updating to a new edition anytime soon, because this one happens to be the most popular one they've ever done. And last year in 2020, with the whole COVID thing, it really got a resurgence in popularity. Everyone was buying D&D books and hosting Zoom D&D games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah. I didn't think about that. That's really cool that you could very easily do it over Zoom.
Yeah. You that's how, one of the ways that we play is that it's me, I'm the dungeon master or game master, and my wife and my roommate are players. And then I have 3 other people that are on the West Coast, 2 in BC, British Columbia, and 1 in Oregon. And so they're all on the West Coast, and we go on Skype. So I log into my Skype account. I start up the chat. They all log in. We all put on our webcams, and I put this microphone in the middle of the table so everyone can hear all 3 of us around the table on our couch. And it's a really good setup. I trust everybody when they roll their dice. I trust that they're telling me the true numbers. I feel that no one's ever lied to me and said, "Yep, I rolled a natural 20." Okay, I guess you beat the thing. You persuaded the king to actually give you 1 million gold coins and take over the kingdom. So no, everyone's been really true to their dice roll. I trust everybody, so it's been really fun. But yeah, when I went to go, I bought Dungeons and Dragons book actually for the first time. I've been playing for almost a year, and I bought the 3 manuals that you really need to play. I've just bought them a couple of weeks ago because of my Trump bucks. My tax return all came in at the same time, and I decided, all right, I'll spoil myself. I'll spend the $85 and get all 3 books. But before that, I was going to the library and just checking them out, and then just renewing them, and then returning them, and then checking them back out as soon as they were checked back in. I checked them out the next day, and I was doing that for almost a year. And I remember one of the times I went into the library that we have one, right over here, just up the street from me. It's actually a part of a college campus. one of the people that worked there said to me, they go, yeah, these have been popular to the point that we're thinking of ordering more copies of them because people keep checking them out so they can play. Yeah.
See, I've never even played. I ran into an old my last apartment where I lived with my daughter's mother. The downstairs apartment was being renovated, and he had a problem getting the clawfoot tub out because the pipes were really rusty and attached. And I was like, bro, I got a sawzall. We'll get this bitch out instantly. And I helped him out, and we ended up getting talking. And he was like, yeah, my wife and my friends and like everyone plays D&D, and he was like, come play sometime. And we tell long stories, and it's awesome. And I was like, bro, as the biggest Call of Duty nerd, semi-professional Call of Duty player with 10,000 hours on COD, I don't even know what you're talking about. And he briefly explained it. And I think I have a cusp view, but I don't even really know what D&D entails. It's like a storytelling type based game board. But so how does the game, is there not a physical game board when you guys play?
What they call, there's two different styles of playing. You can always play with your minifigures and then have like a map or whatever, and you can play that way, which is fine. The other way of playing is what they call a theater of the mind. One of the best ways a good way to kind of dumb down the explanation, to explain it like you're 5 years old, is imagine you're at a campfire and you're doing a campfire story, right? You know how sometimes you do, I'm going to say this part of the story, now you continue this part of the story, and then someone next to you takes turns, right? Well, it's like that, but there's one person who tells the story, and then he asks people, all right, here's the setup, what do you do? And then person says, all right, I want to do this. And then the person who's leading the whole game says, okay, well, I need you to roll the die, tell me what you get, I'll add in we'll add in what particular modifiers apply to this. So let's say, for example, you want to push a boulder, you want to smash a door open. That's one of the most basic ones. I want to smash this door open. You go, okay, well, go ahead, roll the dice. We'll apply your strength modifier to it. And if you roll below the difficulty, then you don't get it. But if you roll above on the difficulty level, so let's say 15 or above, you break the door open. You successfully break the door open, right? So that's essentially how it would work in terms of you were dungeoneering. There's other things that you could do. Let's say if you wanted to persuade a king to give you his kingdom or give you more money for a quest, then you would say, hey, I want to get more money out of this quest. The dungeon master says, okay, all right, I want you to say something. What are you going to say to persuade the king? So he'll say something. You go, all right, cool. Roll the dice and we'll add in the modifier. So like we'll say charisma, and then you apply that. And if it meets what I would determine to be the difficulty class, which can be anywhere between 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, etc., I determine that, and if they roll that and above, then they successfully do it. And I go, all right, well, the king decides to give you an extra 500 gold pieces for doing this mission. He gives you right up front, so now you can get the rest later when you come back and successfully prove that you finish the mission. So that's essentially a pretty good brief overview of how Dungeons and Dragons play. Ryan, you any experience you want to add into that?
Not really. I mean, not really, other than trying to think of a way to explain it. Have you played Skyrim or an Elder Scrolls game?
Yep.
It's, kind of that, except with other people changing it up along the way.
I get the concept of like, I've seen like over 40 animes at this point, like from the concept of a comic book to a show to a game. Like at this point, like my memory's so hazy, it's all the same thing. You know what I mean? Like I've just seen so many, like, it's like, was that a game or a show? I know every character.
If you wanted to, I thought about this when you had asked me what you want to do Patreon extra content. I can always run you and Spence through a quick game. I can always, you tell me what you want to do. If you want to be a spellcaster, if you want to bash things with an axe, you let me know. I'll create the characters for you. You don't have to do much. And I can always send them to you if you want them. And then, we can just play through a quick little game that I can just, pull out of my ass. Figuratively.
That might be fun sometime. Yeah. No, I've never done anything like that. It'd be an interesting experience.
You need to have a really good dungeon master, especially if you're going to play over, webcam.
If you come in the future, Ryan, my real goal here, the thing that seems to be hitting the slopes with speed at this point is sharing videos, and that's something I want to do. But you violate TOS so fucking fast. And so like with everything I've learned at this point, if I take content that exists, it's fully produced, and I
alter it, we can show that. So if I find a dope video, I'll reverse the footage. So instead of the car driving left to right, it drives right to left.
Right.
And
That's
that-
enough.
And apparently that's enough for a video, almost across the fucking board.
Right.
So next year, we did a Super Bowl show this year. It was a live show. In the first 2 minutes, YouTube pulled it down for copyright. And so I put it back up. I thought it was my end. YouTube pulled it down again, not my end. So I ended up posting a live feed of a scoreboard from Google that updated every 10 seconds. And we put our cameras around that. It was a shitty substitute. So next year, I'm going to try reversing it and see, and silently, you won't be able to hear anything, but we'll be able to watch the game and talk about, wow, that was a fucking play, and that was something I really wanted. And so visually, I think reversing it is enough and changing the polarity or the contrast, whatever. But as far as audio goes, there's a lot you can show, but I have to learn how. Like I've heard of the Your Mom's House podcast, which is getting pretty big. Tom Segura and his wife, or whatever. They have a private podcast that's posted on a platform that has no copyright. So they show they showed an orgy a week ago. I heard he came on Joe Rogan in the last week. I think he was on Joe Rogan Friday, and he was talking about it. Like, dude, we have videos we show people that you have to click through like 3 disclaimers for age. Like it's fucking insane. And that's the thing I want to be able to do. I want to be able to go find something despicable on Reddit and bring it on with 3 of its partnered cliched videos that go from 1 to 3 to 5 to 7 to 9 in prime number status of what the fuck, and then have fun talking about it. But right now, if I did that, we'll get hit with copyright. The video will be pulled down. Then I have to clip out 10 minutes of audio and video, and it just. So I want to learn how to do that perfectly, but that's my perfect idea of a show, and even if it's in the future, it'll be more than an hour. 2, 3, 4 will always be the cap, whether it's 5, 10 years from now, we do that, or 2. And so, but videos, I want to be like 25% of whatever the duration is. So that way, you figure 25% is videos that a visual viewer can interact with. 5% of it is narrating a visual thing for the audio people, because you have to try to include that. Spencer did a great job. Fuck me. Leon did a great job with that earlier, where he was like, for anyone audio listening, this is what we were showing or talking about. And so there's so many things.
Spencer so much.
I was used to be, we switched off. We started with 3 hosts and 1 dropped off due to time. And then I got another host, and then the other original host dropped off, and then I got Leon, and it all worked great. But yeah, no, I'm fucking up the names. I started the episode drinking. I've drank during the episode. It's now almost post episode based on the normal time.
Yeah, I had to have a few drinks beforehand too. Yeah. It's just...
I'm smooth, baby.
I forgot about the whole segue thing when I was like, how did we get to this? Because I was like, I finished talking. And I was like, what the fuck did I say?
I know. I was going, how did he not remember this? It's
Instantly, I forgot.
You're lucky I keep notes right here to track conversations.
Bro, you fucking texted me and you were like, invites for the show. And I was talking to my fucking roommate who just got home 3 minutes ago. I had no idea what time it was. If you didn't text me, it would have went well.
Dude, I'm so glad I texted you. I was just going, he's kind of, yeah.
I'm usually so on top of the ball.
Hey man, we all have our days.
I'm only going to have three shows out of my true place. So I left my apartment 2 weeks ago. I moved across the street in with a buddy of mine who's actually a coworker. Only difference is I work night shift and he works days. And so all my items are in a bedroom right now. Everything I own is in a bedroom. It's just right to the left of me. I have a bed, this dope ass setup that looks really cool, and then 6 feet of boxes of everything I own.
I was about to say, it looks like there's a water heater right next to you too, by the way.
That's a floor to ceiling rack. That's going to be my new clothes rack at my house.
Okay, I gotcha.
But so my new apartment, funny
in Florida,
enough,
we just call them racks, but okay.
Right. Funny enough, my new apartment is straight through the wall, like the brick wall next to me, in like the next building on the second floor, same floor. So I get there on the 1st. And so I think next weekend will be the 3rd show we will have recorded since I've been out of my original place. And I move in on the 30th, the 1st. So the Sunday, the 2nd, I think 2 shows from now, I'll be in my new place. And I already have 5 posters that aren't here. And I have a printer with a whole new box of ink, and I'm going to sit there and print pictures off my printer. I have $50 of Velcro tags, and my entire wall is going to be posters. You're going to have to look at it and go, what in the fuck? Like it'll be like people on Discord give me shit for 3 posters. I'm going to have 3,300. You know what I mean? It's going to be 5 big ones like this, 10 big ones, maybe like this, half the wall, 30% of the wall. The rest is going to be 9x11s from my printer. It's going to be insane. And I love it because that's exactly what I want. I want every anime I've ever seen, every
I love it.
climax moment in a show that made me go, wow, I should take that little dollop of knowledge and put it in my philosophy, because that's a good trait to have. You know, I don't know. I take real life gameology, movieology, like turning what I see into my real life. I just accept it. I don't need a real person to tell me something.
That's true. I get you. No, I totally get that.
So what are you into, Ryan? I mean, we know I'm about anime, and Leon has expressed. See, right name now. What are you gonna say now?
I got nothing to say. Thank you. That's it.
But he's got tons of comic books, and besides the action figures, what shows? I mean, are you all comic book shows? Like all the figures represent a show?
No. I a lot of shows. I haven't watched any new shows in a long time, other than like the new Invincible. I've just started watching The Witcher.
Okay. I watched a few episodes
watched-
of that. Amazing filming.
I've watched Star Trek: The Next Generation like
Hell
at least
yeah.
a dozen times.
Hell yeah, baby.
Anybody, whenever you see like a political post on Reddit about some, bull crap that's going on, either it's like racist or sexist or, what to do with Veterans Affairs or anything like that, I'm like, go watch Star Trek, people. Come on. There's an episode for that. Like if anybody who has any sort of like biased about anything, like go watch Star Trek. Next Generation, there's an episode for that. I am a huge Star Wars fan as well. I have a pretty big Star Wars collection that you can't see because it's on the other side.
Yeah, look at you. Just your eyeball. He's eyeballing it.
Yeah, I'm looking around like, what am I a fan of? I'm a huge hockey fan. I play.
I see the toys over there, eh?
Yep. I'm actually missing. This is the first year in the last 5 years that I won't be playing in like a high school alumni tournament. My brother's playing right now. But I didn't want to, just because of like the last big event that I almost went to turned out to be a COVID super spreader. And like a good friend of mine got COVID for the first time through it. It was a toy show a few weeks back. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't need to go do that. I have a 3-month-old. I have, responsibilities here. I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I don't want to bring anything home.
Oh man,
so I figured I could
congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
To be a stay-at-home dad.
Yo, bro, I brought that up.
It wasn't necessarily by choice, and I'm still like, it's been almost 4 years now, and I'm still kind of working out money issues. Like I try not to. I sell a ton of stuff on eBay. Like I kind of reached my max as far as space on where I can put toys.
Yeah.
I share the basement with my wife's office. She's worked from home.
Yeah.
So I kind of, make space by selling stuff on eBay, and I use that money to continue the hobby a little bit. So
okay.
I kind of forgot where I was going with that.
We were talking about you were talking about things that you're into.
Yeah. So it's
he's scanning the room, literally looking for the things he's interested in.
So all my interests should be in here.
Dude, that's why I do that, man. I'm telling you, like, so I've got like 80, almost 100 tattoos, and I just bought a brand new tattoo gun. I do them, and you know what I mean. They're not grade A, but personally, I didn't have to pay for them, and I did them wasted. They're awesome. But so I tattoo memories, because I'm like, my memory is gonna go out someday, and I want to see 4 emblems that have mnemonic devices. It's like I see the mushroom, I see the train tracks, I know where I fucked up. And it's the same thing with posters. Like I look behind me and it's like, why do you have a penguin? Penguins are my favorite animal. Why do you have those shows? The posters were at Walmart and I've seen them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it, but not.
He has got to do the tattoos. He's the main character from Memento.
Dude, my whole right sleeve is gonna be colored anime. I'm not even fucking with you. I'm
I
already
believe
choosing
I
all
believe
the
you, man.
figures. People are gonna see it and be like, ugh. I live in the country. Anime not supported. I got a few stickers on my car. They get me looked at. Like, what in the fuck is this? I got a clown on my front windshield with a star and a fucking teardrop on his cheek, and he's white. Like, not white like me, but like the color, like the wall.
Right, I got you.
Yeah, and in the back, I've got a bunch of weird symbols. Like, one's an anagram, and it's for a show. Actually, this little pop right here is from the show, Full Metal Alchemist. But the symbol looks like something the devil worships. It's
Oh,
red
the
and black.
Ouroboros.
100% on my back
Okay.
windshield of my fucking Subaru. And then on the left side, I have Yuno Gasai from a show called Future Diary, which she's like this. She kills people because she loves someone so much. But like, if you like the guy, she'll kill you. And so it's like, it's half lovey and half like, get the fuck out of my guy's face. And I've got a sticker of her with a knife in my back windshield. I always pretend in my mind, if an old couple's looking, it's ketchup. But like, it's a fucking girl with a knife. So I don't know. It's definitely interesting. Not counting my ridiculously loud exhaust now.
I was just talking. My car is like I mentioned earlier, it's an Ecto, like it's a white SUV, and I have like the Ghostbuster things on the side, and I have an Ecto 1S, I think is my license plate and all that stuff. But I was actually just talking to my cousin 2 weeks ago, who's covered in tattoos, about I don't have any tattoos. I was like, I'm trying to think of like what I would get if I got a tattoo, and the only thing I could think of is like my mainstay love of my life has been Ghostbusters since I was like 5. Like, there's a picture of me at one of my brother's hockey games in with the old Kenner proton pack and my suit on at his hockey game, like running around busting ghosts. So I was like, okay, if I ever got a tattoo, it'd probably be like a Ghostbuster patch. Maybe I'd get like a Batman logo or something. Maybe like the Star Trek communicator thing. And for a long time, I was like playing ridiculous amounts of Skyrim. So I thought, oh, Skyrim Dragon, that might be kind of cool. But I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about it. And I feel like if I'm on the fence at all, then maybe it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite, man. Be on the fence. So I watched the show Shameless, which is like basically my life, just the amalgamation of like all the fucked up people who should have raised you right and they didn't. So like that's how I lived. And Frank Gallagher yelled up to the apartment in one of the later seasons and says, I am indefatigable, trying to get someone to hang out with him. Like, he'll never stop. He's tirelessly persistent. He will not stop. I heard that word less than 48 hours later. I was at a tattoo shop getting indefatigable tattooed across the side of my neck right here. And I based it. I was like, dude, the word means tirelessly persistent. It's the whole fucking definition. And it's 7 syllables. Like, that's fucking awesome. And I was like, okay, based on my philosophy to be a tattoo artist and a rapper, both of those people with tattoos in their face are considered not professional. Let's break that stigma. Boom. And I'll talk with eloquence. And then I want to be a musician. And everyone, when you tell someone you want to be a musician, it's one of 3 things. Good luck, you'll never make it, or shah. And it's like, so I love 2 of those, and you tell me good luck, and I'm like, you're pandering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that was why I got it. But I've never regretted it. And dude, it was so split. Like, I woke up Sunday and I was like, why is my neck hurt? Oh, like, but I have so many. Like, I was 16 tattooing I was tattooing girlfriends' names. They weren't exes at the time. Girlfriends' names on my thigh. Like, oh, she'll love me so much more now. And it worked. Like, it.
For the time being.
I did it 3 times
for a while.
I haven't done it the 4th, but I've done it 3 times. And guess what? I got some brownie points all 3 times.
Wow.
Are they covered with anything now?
One of them is like a fucking 50 cal bullet of blackness. And one of them, it was too painful, so I X'd it out and then wrote I love and wrote the new person's name. So I actually used one of the tattoos half covered up for a new girl's name just because it was too painful to cover up. So
wow.
So 2 names are covered, 1 is visible, but the I love is from the second name. and none of those names are my baby mama.
Wow. Wow. That's too funny.
I didn't have a kid to my 20s, and all these tattoos were done in my teenage years, because tattoo guns were available on Amazon. And I got my first tattoo at 14, and my dad said, sick. That was his response. Sick. So I was covered in them. I had 3 from someone else in a garage by 15, and I bought my very first tattoo gun, the one that did my first 3 tattoos, and did 50 more before 18. And so I only have 1 my gas mask on my wrist right here, my chest tattoo, and then my shoulder tattoo right here. I have 4 professional and 78 maybe by me. My whole arm right here, it's a sleeve I did one-handed on cocaine when I lived in Texas.
Okay.
Literally like 16
I believe
hours
you.
straight. It was because the problem is you have to do all the needle pounding at the same time, or the black or whatever color you use heals differently. So if
Yeah.
you do part A and part B on day 1 and day 2, they heal so differently, they're not the same color. And so while I tattooed 16 hours of tribal on my arm with a stem that comes all the way down to this rose, down here on my wrist, my buddy tattooed a 12-inch Goku on his stomach.
Jeez.
So it was like 10 Four Locos, a bunch of pots of coffee, 3 8-balls, and a bunch of fun. And we tattooed 16 hours straight in Texas.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I gotta bounce, guys.
No, that's great. Yeah, we went an hour 20. Yeah, cool.
Hey, why
So
not?
you got any things you want to plug here, Ryan?
I don't actually. I'm only on like Facebook and on Reddit, but that's
No,
I don't do any other social media. I'm old. And
no, that's perfectly fine. Leon, anything you wanna mention before the end?
Yeah, so I am one day I got stuck because I am in the middle of writing one book and
You lagged
I
there
want
for a second. Do you want to start over?
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of writing a book that I want to get published by the end of this year, but also in the meantime, I do like to write short stories, and I'm really trying to get into writing one short story, hopefully a month, just randomly 1,000 words that I'll just throw up of an A to B and story. And I just wrote one recently, just popped into my head out of nowhere, and I said, I gotta write this, and I just went right at my computer and wrote 750 words in like 30 minutes, just pounding this out. And then I finished up the other 250 when I got home in 20 minutes, and I posted up on my blog. So if, I would love for people to come check it out. And I also post my D&D campaign on there. I do a journal on that. I do a quick summary of each session in as novel as I can. So that's Still Foxes. So STILLFOXES. So stillfoxes.home.blog. I can always throw up in on the descriptions and everything for everybody.
We'll have the links.
Yeah, for sure. But come check it out. I definitely want to start getting people to, read, leave comments, let me know, because I want to improve I definitely want to improve my art, and I want to be, as verbose as possible and so good at what I really want to do. I want to be a writer. I mean, I'm a writer now. I'm just not a published writer, and I just want to build up that following. So yeah, come check out the story. It's a little dark fantasy that I wrote about a girl fighting a monster. So.
Awesome. No, that fucking sounds great. And yeah, we'll have all our links beneath the description. And if you want to come on in the future, Ryan, we'd be happy to have you.
You're so awesome. I would love to have you back.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, awesome. So everyone, have a great night, and
Thanks for having me.
have a good one.
Deuces.